Now I want to talk about the powers of I. So I'm just going to kind of run down the list of powers, hopefully far enough for you to understand the pattern, because it is a pattern. So I to the first power is really just I. So now let's take I squared, and we know that's -1. We've been talking about that quite a bit today already. Okay, and then I cubed, that's really I squared times I. And I squared is -1. We just did that one. And I is just I. So this actually equals -I. So then I to the fourth is really I squared times I squared. And that equals -1 times -1, which equals +1. Now I to the fifth is going to equal I to the fourth times I. Because it's really I to the 1, and 4 plus 1 is 5. Because when I'm multiplying, it's adding exponents. So I to the fourth is actually 1. So this is really 1 times I. So it's just I. So now let's do the sixth. Whoops. I to the sixth. So this is really I to the fourth times I squared. That's going to be I to the sixth. 4 and 2. If I add those together, I get 6. And I do that when I'm timesing with the same base. Okay, so this is really going to be a 1, and then I get an I squared. Oops. I'm not going to write the I squared down. So I squared is actually -1, so that equals -1. Okay, let's look at I to the seventh now. So I to the seventh is really I to the fourth times I cubed. And we know I cubed is -I. So this is going to be -I. So now I to the eighth is really I to the fourth times I to the fourth. And that equals 1 times 1, which equals 1. Okay, now let's do I to the ninth. So now I to the ninth is really I to the fourth times I to the fourth times I. And I know I to the fourth are equal to 1. So I'm just going to get I there. So I wonder if you see the pattern yet. One thing that's really nice about this is I always pull out the I to the fourth as much as I can. So for instance, if I had ... I to the 24th, I know that's really I to the fourth times, that's 4 times, 5 times, and then I to the fourth. I know it's 6 of those I to the fourths. And that would be 1. So then I can even get more fancy. So if I said I to the 80th, I know 4 goes into 80, which tells me that's going to be 1. So that's a nice thing about dealing with these powers. Once I understand them, I can find any one of them. So let's go to I to the 137th. So now what I'm going to do for something like this is I got to find out how many 4s go into 137. And I could do that by just taking 137 and dividing it by 4. And really what it gives me is 34.25. Now, if I take that 34.25 that I get, and I just take the 34, and I times it by 4, I really get I to the 136, which that's just going to give me 1. And notice here, I just have 1 left because that's 137. So this would be I to the 136 times I, which would be 137. And I know this is really just an I to the fourth. So that's going to be a 1. So my answer is I. Okay, one more I want to do here. So let's do I to the 183. Okay, so now I'm just going to take that 183 and divide it by 4. And we're going to get 45.75. So I know it goes into it at least 45 times. So 45 times 4 is going to be 180. So I'm just going to write I to the 180. And if I catch that right away, I did, that would be closest to 180 without going over another 4. So that would be 180, and this would be I cubed. So then this is going to end up being 1 here for this piece, because that's a multiple of 4 there. And then I cubed is -1. So this is going to end up being -1. So that's just dealing with the powers of I.